Hello, welcome back to the Boardgames 4K YouTube channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally talk a load of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general. And in this video we will continue our countdown of the best board games of all time from 100 down to number 1. And this video is number 80 down to 71. Remember, all these board games on this list are absolutely fantastic. When you get down to your top 100, it's very, very difficult to put them in any sort of like logical order. So we've done our best, and let's crack on with this list. Boardgames 4K. So number 80 on this list is a miniatures game, and there's not many miniatures games on this list, but this is Star Wars X-Wing, the miniatures game. And whilst we're not a big fan of these sort of tabletop skirmish games, this one really did capture our attention because we're not such big fans of Star Wars, but I was a big fan of it when I was a kid, like everybody was. And this gave me the opportunity to revisit my youth after my old man chucked away all my Star Wars toys, and this allowed me to go back and play with these toys that were a big part of my childhood when I was a kid. And the game itself is actually really, really good. So you've got these little miniature X-Wings and the Millennium Falcon and all these different loads of ships, and you will be moving them around a map that's usually around 3 foot by 3 foot, and you'll have mission objectives, and you will have characters from the Star Wars universe that will be you'll be able to have cards, and they'll give you special abilities. And this recently got a second edition. We didn't bother with the second edition because the first edition is absolutely fine, and we really do like it. We wish it would get to the table a little bit more, but because we're not that big fans of miniatures games, it doesn't tend to hit the table as much as we'd like, and that is Star Wars X-Wing, the miniatures game. So number 79 on this list is a game by Richard Garfield. It's a very, very popular Yahtzee sort of dice chucking game. It's King of Tokyo, and maybe King of New York as well, right? But what you'll be doing, you'll be taking on the role of a sort of kaiju character that is in Tokyo trying to beat up other kaiju characters, and you'll be rolling these dice, choosing to keep some, rolling some more, choosing to keep some, rolling some more, and using these dice to either pummel your opponents. You'll be using them to buy these special abilities. And one of the things that makes this game great is that if you're in Tokyo, only one person can occupy Tokyo. If you're in there, then you do damage to everybody else, and everybody else who's outside of Tokyo deals damage to you. And you can't heal in Tokyo, right? So this sort of like, when this came out, I remember it was sort of a novel use of the Yahtzee formula. Whilst we don't play it as much as we used to, it's sort of got a little bit stale. You can't really argue that it has brought a lot of people to the hobby, because this is one of the most popular gateway games that you can get, and that's King of Tokyo on number 79. So number 78 on this list is it's not a betting game, but it's sort of in that sort of vein. It's Lords of Vegas, and what you'll be doing in this game, you'll be erecting hotels on the Vegas Strip and trying to build up your empire, your gambling empire, in order to get the most money to win the game. And this game is actually quite cutthroat. We really do like it, because not only can you sort of gamble at other people's casinos, but you can try and take them over. If you take that action, you can actually muscle in on other people's territory. And it sort of reminds me of another game called Chinatown, where you're sort of like an area control element in this. And yeah, the only thing we would say is a bit of a pain about this is the way that the casinos come out. You basically draw a card, and that's what you have got. That's your casino lot. You take control of the casinos. There's no way to sort of influence that. But it's got an expansion. It's got an expansion called Up, which allows you to build multi-story casinos, and also adds a 5th player. And it is a truly wonderful game. That is Lords of Vegas. So number 77 is an old game, but a new game, and it's Downforce. And this is a Formula 1 style racing game where you'll be playing cards, moving cars forward that are not necessarily your own cars, right? And this is a refresh of an older game by is it Wolfgang Kramer, or who's the other one? Matthias Kramer. Yes. Yeah, so track on it with some obstructions and all that sort of thing. I think it's called something Canyon or something. It's a very, very like entry-level racing game that is also sort of got a betting element as well. So it's got a bit of both worlds there, and we really, really like it. And that's our number 77, Downforce. So number 76 is another racing game, and this game is called Formula D. Whilst Downforce was a sort of a card play game, Formula D sees you rolling dice and moving your car forward. So it's essentially a roll and move game. But the thing about Formula D is the corners have these little numbers on, and you'll have to stop your car that number of times on the corner. So there's, whilst you're sort of just trying to race ahead as fast as possible, you've got to mitigate, you've got to slow down and make sure that you don't crash. And whilst the rules to Formula D can be a little bit fiddly, and there's some dumb rules about, you know, being out of the game, player elimination, you can house rule them out quite easily, and it is really pretty to look at. But obviously this is another refresh of an old game called Formula Dirt or Formula Day or whatever, and there's a billion expansions for this, loads of different tracks. I mean, if you look in the right place, you can download the PDFs and print them off on A1 paper or A0 and do it that way, but because a lot of them are out of print. But don't tell anyone I said that, right? But yeah, Formula D, it's roll and move, but it's still a fantastic racing game. So number 75 on this list is a game that we just mentioned. We mentioned Chinatown, and that's number 75 on this list, Chinatown. So what you'll be doing, this game is pure negotiation, right? So you've got these different types of Chinese restaurants in Chinatown, and you'll be trying to take control of as many restaurants as you possibly can, and everything in this game is up for trade or negotiation. So you could trade away your restaurant, trade away money, you could trade away anything, you could trade away your wife or your husband if you so desire. It really is an evil cutthroat game for 3 to 5 players, and if you've never played Chinatown, then you really need to play it. I'm not sure if it's in print. It gets a bit of stick for some sort of I suppose racist tropes. I think some people have identified on the board or whatever. I think some other review site noticed that there was some dodgy artwork or some dodgy references in the game. But insofar as the gameplay is concerned, and you want a pure negotiation game, you can't go far wrong with Chinatown. So, number 74 on this list is a wooden dexterity game that was quite high up on our list last year, I do believe, but it's dropped down a little bit because we haven't really got it to the table much this year. And it's a Canadian game called Prokhanov. I think it's around 200 years old, but what it seems you're doing, it seems you're flicking these discs, trying to get them into this hole on the board, yeah. And the trick of this one is that when you've got more than one disc on the board, you have to hit another disc first before it goes in the hole, right? So if you miss, the disc comes off the board, and you get different points for the way the discs are arranged on the board at the end of the game, depending on what ring they land in. And it is probably one of the most skillful games on this list. I mean, I'm complete crap at it, so, but you know, if you can, when you play this, the more you play this, it's one of the rare occasions that you actually do feel like you are actually increasing your skill level the more you play it. And apart from me, because I'm not very good at it. So that's Prokhanov, that's our number 74. So number 73 on this list is a space opera type game called Exodus Proxima Centauri, and this game, I think it's now currently out of print. It's got 2 expansions, and what you'll be doing, like other sort of games of this type, like Eclipse and Twilight Imperium and all that sort of stuff, you'll be trying to build up your fleet, trying to take control of planets' resources, which in this game are represented by little dice, and you'll be trying to build up your technology, have a political influence in the galaxy. And this game is a nice slimmed down version of that type of 4X game, and it really does work well. Maybe it's become a little bit too bloated with the 3rd expansion, which we haven't got, but we've looked at it and thought, nah, that probably add too much to the game. But we really do like Exodus Proxima Centauri. So it's a nice novel slant on what otherwise could have been a tarred genre, and that is our number 73. So, number 72 on this list is a game that we sort of, well, in mentioning it, we're cheating a little bit because we haven't played it all the way through, but it's Kingdom Death Monster. And one of the reasons that we haven't played it all the way through is because I can't stand making up these little miniatures like this bloke here. You know, that was a real pain in the neck for me. I know it's probably, you're laughing and probably thinking, well, you can't even put together a lion miniature, but it's so fiddly. I mean, putting this young lady together drove me up the wall. So, you know, we haven't really played enough of it for it to be higher up on the list, but we've played it enough to understand that Kingdom Death Monster really is a game changer insofar as what happened in the board game industry. It's a pivotal moment because it opened up the doors to Kickstarter, and it showed what was possible if the people that play games get involved in the production process and throw money at something. Because Kingdom Death Monster would never have been made by a mainstream publisher. So we're thankful for that. It's a fantastic game. Maybe a little bit too luck based and too fiddly to set up. We're done with the miniatures. We got the gambler's chest coming at some point in the future, so we're going to look forward to making some more miniatures. But yeah, Kingdom Death Monster number 72. So number 71 on this list is a game that we just recently reviewed. It's Puerto Rico, and this sat at the top of the board game rankings for years and years and years and years. And what it sees you doing, it sees you taking control of a plantation in Puerto Rico. You'll be acquiring different products to plant in your plantation. They will grow, and you'll try and ship these off into far off markets or internal markets or whatever you want to do in order to get points to win the game. So Puerto Rico, it does get criticised for being sort of a one-trick pony. So once you've found the right path through the game, then you are sort of really going to be better at it than somebody who's new. So it does reward repeat plays. But like we said in the review, if your game group comes at it from the same point in time, then it really is a fantastic game even now. And it's just had a reprint of the deluxe edition that was going for about 100, 200 quid on eBay. So if you really do want to pick up Puerto Rico, now is the time to do it, because it's got a wonderful deluxe edition that is in the shops right now. So have a look at that. So that's it. That's the next part of this list done and dusted. We will be continuing down to number 1, where there'll be a big reveal on Christmas Day at some point. And yeah, so stay tuned. And remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment down below. And if you made it this far, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.